I'm a little distracted this morning, and I was considering even not doing this because um, I've got a. Oh, Brian is joining us. Um, I was considering not even doing this morning
Oh yeah.
because, yeah, we've got an HVAC company here, and I can hear them really loudly in the background talking to my wife, and I want to go support her on this, but we're going to do it anyways because buying an HVAC system in the United States right now, you think it would be simple, and getting something of high quality that works, it's not. It's not. And despite all the work we did on this to get this right and the expense, it's been a nightmare for 5 months since we got it. Why? I think we should talk about that a little bit, but let's focus on the topic and then we'll weave it in, Brian, because I think we can do that
We can tap dance that.
effectively. Yes. So the topic here is
Okay.
how to identify and find your ideal clients. And what this is really about is the marketing industry and marketing and product. It's about quality product. And why is it so hard to find good quality anything right now? Is this a global problem or is this just in the United States?
Oh man, one of my favorite things you share with me is like how the marketers ruin the world as I know it. Um, the idea of phased obsolescence is a thing. I see that with cell phones, refrigerators. My parents, they have their original microwave from 1978.
Yeah.
It works perfect.
Does it?
It doesn't have the moving tray in it, but like
But it
you know,
works.
it will continue to work because it was designed to work for a long time. I am separate of my Vitamix blender, and one of the appeals to me was I'll never have to replace that.
We have
So
had so many service calls from a high quality company that cares about their I'm gonna read this to you. So this came today. A picture of the technician. Hi, Larry Call. This is through their automated system that they've had trouble getting to work properly, but it's working better now. I know what's going on behind the scenes because I understand how these systems work. So, right,
right,
your technician, David from blah, 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 is on the way. Call our office with questions. He is a NATE certified HVAC technician, 6 years of experience. He enjoys movies, games, and studying his Sephardic Jewish heritage, which fosters a deep sense of community. His commitment to customer service. And I'm like, you know what?
Larry.
That's
What's this? I can't even listen. Like, what sign is he? I want to go for a long walk on the beach
I
for the
know.
dating
I
profile.
know. The problem is that Carrier, who is the best company in the market at heating systems, I looked it up. It was Carrier or Amana.
Uh-huh.
And Carrier is a specialist in interior heating, cooling environments or whatever. Amana's got, I can still hear them talking. It's becoming heated in the background here. So I'm going to focus as much as
I
I
love
can.
the irony of what you just said.
I know.
It's
I
a
love
heating
this.
and cooling company, and the conversation is getting heated. Of course,
Yes. Oh, I
to
didn't do
mean
that on
somehow.
purpose. We don't plan anything in this show, these shows. Um, so
Clearly,
the
right,
clearly, so the hilarious part about it is they're trying really hard
right.
and they're not private equity owned. So we look, I was like, I will not, that's my requirement first. It's got to either be family owned or controlled at least by someone who cares about their business. No private equity, no venture backed stuff, none of it. Now you don't have that with HVAC as much, but private equity is taking over the HVAC. They're buying all these. They're called roll ups, right? Or they're who knows? I don't even care. I'm going to look it up at some point and figure out what the hell's going on in this local industry. But the point is, it's almost impossible for them to do a good job.
The it's interesting to understand what the business rules are. My parents just bought a new washer machine, and the technician came to take the old one, and like, you should fix this one. Like, this is fixable. This is going to last about 5 years, and you're going to need another one. Part of the plan. You know what I
Oh my
mean?
God. So my mechanic said the same thing. So I have my dad's old Lexus
Okay.
EX 350. I don't
Yeah.
really like it. I wouldn't have picked it.
Right.
Okay. But he bought it. He
Is
liked
that what
it.
you drive? That's your daily driver?
That's my daily driver.
Nice.
And then my wife's spouse partner, depending what generation you are, so we'll get the language right, has an Acura, and it's a nice one, and we
Yeah.
got a pretty good deal on it because I know how to talk to dealers because I know I'm going to lose. So I just write down a number and say, "This is my number," and then 3 hours later, we're finished.
Oh,
That's my approach because I know I'm going to lose the negotiation. So I don't negotiate. Okay. So, anyways, so we got a good deal. It was a good car. They wanted to sell it. That was way back when they wanted to sell cars. Now the dealers are in charge, right? Um, so the front end alignment goes out because I live in Chicago area, right? So the he's like, if you don't fix this, you could hit a pothole and it'll just go. So I forget what it's called. It's the front end arm or something.
oh yeah.
You know that thing. So he's like, it's going to crack. So I don't know what year this car is, 2016. And he's like, fix it. I said, what's the Blue Book value? He looked it up. It's going up. He said, this car is great.
Yep.
I'm like, I don't like it, but it's great. It's not going to be a piece of crap. So we fixed it.
This is fascinating to me. My buddy Doug and I. So Doug's a MARSOC, Marine Corps Special Forces dude, and like thinking about like what equipment has gotten us through the hardest parts of our life. So my ProTech helmet, this watch, it's why I wear it. I have nicer watches, but this is the one I look at. Remind me to go explore things. My journal, like my red moleskin journal that turned into my first book, like that was part of rescue equipment. So like, what are the brands? What are the companies? What are the organizations that are like, no, we're changing the world. That's what we do. We're not here to extract as much money from you as possible.
Yeah.
Like, we want your life to be better. And then if your life's better, so is ours.
Yes.
Like the way that Southwest Airlines started.
Started.
But
if you look at Southwest, it's a crappy product now, but could they have done it any differently in that environment?
I don't
They
think so.
couldn't have. If they'd invested in their IT infrastructure, they wouldn't have survived.
Yeah, I think I have a sophomoric opinion on this.
Yeah.
But they're fighting for such a small profit margin in that really tough business. And so, I want to introduce a term to our lexicon. That's a mission impossible. How do I disrupt an industry that like we're fighting for this much?
Yeah.
The hospital industry, I think the same thing.
Hospital industry. That's a bigger conversation that could go on for hours. So I want to take it back to some simple stuff because we're focusing on how to identify and find your ideal client. So I'm going to read the first thing here we're talking about. The marketing industry taught me to identify my ideal target client, know them well enough to engage, and then show them how I can solve their most pressing pain points.
Right.
My most pressing pain point today is companies with bad products and good marketing.
Yes.
In all industries.
Like almost. So we were talking yesterday about my buddy Kyle and his jujitsu stuff. He'll telegraph something that the opponent, who's so well trained, Brandon, his reptilian body must respond to that because it's if this then that. I'm noticing we had a cool exchange yesterday.
You and me, yeah, we should talk.
Yeah, let's talk about this. This is actually pretty
exchange.
juicy. Yeah. So I found this great clip about the Kabbalah and what I put together since I left the Navy.
Can you be specific? Be specific. What clip?
Yeah, it's from David Guyam. He was my Kabbalah teacher, Kabbalah.com. And Kabbalah is a set of ancient teachings similar to like Stoicism. But what it does is it helped me think about my relationship to the Creator. And especially when shit hits the fan, that's not a curse. That's not a punishment. My vessel is too small to be able to receive more.
That's right. We know this is true. You and I both know this is true. That's not an opinion. That's not your belief. And it's not your conviction. It's true.
No, it's not. And also my experience, my life is transforming. Like what I did over the course of 30 days would have the three major life change things that went through. I don't know how I would have got through without that. Like I had a, I'm not going to say a rudimentary framework, but I got confidence in what I built because it was triangulated also by the Kabbalah. So I know that I'm tapping into something much more intelligent than this little 5-watt kitchen light bulb of a brain of mine.
Yeah.
So
That's
at
right.
minute 39 in the video, David had $1.1 million wire frauded from his company.
Ah,
His initial gut reaction to that was anger, fear, right?
yeah.
And so I thought it was such a telling snapshot into like one of the most pressurized moments that I could find in a story relevant
Mm.
to today. It's not in the battlefield. It's and so I shared that on our Discord channel, and
So let me explain to people. So in the community product we've got in Discord, everyone in our founding member group and then ambassador group that's sort of filling in now has their own channel that they own. In other words, that's their channel. So
Mhm.
this sets up the story, I think.
It does, yeah. So I put that video in there, and I did like a 3-paragraph little write up on it, and next thing I know, Larry is keying off on all of the marketing tactics that Lewis Howes has done, the history of that. And it's all fascinating stuff. And it just didn't sit right with me. And I didn't know how to have this conversation with
Yeah.
you. And so, of course, I shared it with Yael, like, hey, I need a second opinion. And she had a very different approach to what mine was.
Right.
And
Tell him.
what's that?
Her approach was what? Tell him and delete it.
Tell him and have him deleted. This is your
Yeah,
opinion.
that's right. She was right.
And I was like, all right, well, I don't need to do that way. Like I can how can I do this with love, right? So the theme here is I was reactionary in that. Like Larry's missing the point. The point is this moment of invincibility, and the marketing stuff was distracting in that particular context.
Yeah.
So I understand your vision in that and understand mine. And then the shared desire of my particular page was if someone comes in fresh off the street and wants to learn about invincibility, this is this thread.
Mhm.
And also I wanted to honor, your point. I think it's fascinating. The dynamics of the marketing and how such a pure message, right? Like what David is talking about is absolutely like life and community changing. I'm seeing
The
it.
real deal. He's the real
It's the real,
deal.
he's the real deal.
Mhm.
And Luis Howes and Elon Musk also, they think they're doing the absolute best they know how to do, but that's based on the old principles. I,
Well,
I think
let's talk about that. I want to talk about my perspective on it. So the first thing is when I did that, I'm just being myself.
for sure.
First, second, when you said to me clearly, don't do this in my channel, now I understand.
Yes.
So I deleted it. And then I put a note saying, oh, I learned something today from this interaction with Brian. So you own your channels. I got my channel. I'll put this in
Yeah.
my channel when I want to talk about my stuff. This general chat is for everybody. So I won't clutter it up with stuff I'm focusing on. Done.
Yeah.
My issue with the whole thing was Lewis Howes is an original entrepreneur, lifestyle entrepreneur, and he did not have a big accomplishment to get there. But his big accomplishment was he's great at interviewing, and he is great at interviewing.
Hmm.
Now, the fact that he used brand builders, Rory and AJ Vaden, to become successful on Instagram and on social media way back in the early days of branding makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah.
The issue is he doesn't know the difference between prosperity and wealth.
Yeah.
So when I heard that setup from him, and then he's selling his book related to the topic, my mind closed immediately.
Oh, I'm so glad that you're highlighting that because when he talked about his book, like I have like a fear of missing out on information I might need and realizing like that's not the information that is most relevant.
I want Lewis to know the difference between wealth and prosperity.
I do too. It's
And
a,
I
it's
put a comment on the YouTube,
oh cool.
and I was nice. Like I wasn't a Wicked Witch of the West kind of thing. I was like, no, I'm trying to explain here. This is good, but the fact that you have a stage you got through marketing prowess back in the day when that worked on Instagram means you're a great interviewer, but you got to learn more about the topic because it's
Right.
confusing because other people see a successful man, the person he interviewed, and may misunderstand what it is and want to be like him. That's my perspective. Now, my perspective did not belong in your invincibility channel on Discord.
Right. There's a
I'm
market.
seeing it here. I'm fine with that. And I put it on my own channel in Discord.
This
Yes.
this is perfect, right? So remembering So the micro and the macro are happening at the same time, right? So David Guiam is a fifth dimension business leader. That's how he operates his company.
Yeah.
You know, he uses the creator, that's his language, um, as his business partner. He's like, hey, I talked to the boss.
Yeah.
We're going to have between a 50 and 60% profit margin. And his Harvard MBA board members are like, that's crazy. He's like, we've done it every year, 9 years in a row. Do you still think that's an accident? They're like,
He has board members that think like that.
he has board members that think Harvard style.
Oh, I couldn't handle that. I would fire them if possible, or don't take money from people like that and let them in.
So what he was highlighting was not only so tikkun, right? The corrections, karma is another word for that.
Yeah.
What he was talking about is in the growth of a company, it's not time, it's tikkun, the things that are most challenging.
Yeah.
So for him, it was challenging to share with his board, like, kind of like how I feel sometimes, like this is super woo-woo, but it's not, it's how it works.
Right.
So his role with his board is to grow them spiritually as they grow the business
Can they
together.
push him out though?
I don't think they can.
Then it's good. It works.
Yeah.
So that's important because
Like
if
he
you're an
bought,
entrepreneur and you take bad money, in other words, money like that, it could become bad money if they can push you out and you have to justify to them all the time what you know to be true and they can't understand. But if
right.
you can help them evolve and they're investing in it and get to be a part of it, that works.
Exactly. So the
Okay.
shared desire
Yeah.
again.
Okay.
Um, yeah, it's fascinating looking at this through the lens of friction. So you and I had a friction point yesterday,
Mhm.
and I had asked you, hey, can you take those comments down? And I didn't hear back from you. And like
You
that
didn't?
was I didn't see your text back. I
Oh,
and
I
I
think I was doing something else and then I took it down and then I said something in the Discord channel. I don't remember
yeah,
now.
so I went on to my invincibility thing this morning. I'm like, wow, Larry did that. I was like really touched by that, man.
Oh, were you? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, like I grew up in a world where like my boundaries with my father didn't matter.
didn't matter. Yeah.
Not didn't matter. There just wasn't a context for it.
No context.
And then I
Exactly.
was in the
So
military. They didn't give a shit what I wanted.
no, they don't care.
They
Yeah,
don't
the
care.
military does not care. That's right.
They
So I'm going to read the second line here because I want to stay on the theme because we're using this for podcasts too. So it took a few years to stop playing this game. The intent and impact of doing original things in the world at some point required me to stop trying to get people to do what I want them to do to win. That's my error in thinking.
right.
Is I have to figure out how to get you to do what I want. That's marketing. Marketing industry's job. Get people to do what you want so you hit your numbers so the people who have the money are happy and get off your back. What happens when you have those people in charge is you get crappy product. So one of the best, we were talking about Landman.
Oh yeah.
I think Taylor Sheridan needs to do a series for everything. He needs to do one on the financial industry, the payments industry. He's focusing on like land, Montana, oil. He needs to do it. He's the CIA. Now he needs to do it for credit card processing,
Oh, I want him to do one for the coaching industry.
coaching industry. He should
That'd
do
be
it.
great.
Yes, coaching. I think maybe we can talk about it. We're not going to get the scale he has right now, but he nailed it because the billionaire, played by John Hamm, who lives in an art museum he can't even understand, who's miserable with his own life, he doesn't even know it, is putting pressure on Billy Bob Thornton out in the field. Billy Bob actually knows what the hell's going on, and John Hamm's up in the helicopter. And I'm like, no, you go down there, John. You go in the patch. You go hang out with them and see what's actually happening. You don't get to call them anymore. That's my attitude.
Wow.
So
As you're
that's the problem.
there's another element here that for some reason is resonating. So my queen and I are watching this show called Gracie and Frankie on Netflix. It's hilarious.
Oh, my wife's spouse partner watches that. It's Lily Tomlin, and
Yeah,
yeah, I haven't seen it, but she said it's great.
and Jane Fonda,
Jane
fantastic.
Fonda, yeah.
So they get sued for they made a sex toy for people that are retired, and it's hilarious, like
It's a
the
great idea.
juxtaposition and all of that.
Great
So
idea.
so she gets sued by this like product mogul, And she's like, I can't believe we're getting sued. And the whole reason that he sued her was to get a date with her. And she's in her 70s. He's in his like late 40s, billionaire. And there's a scene where she's like, look, you know, you don't actually want me. It's just the idea of being with an older woman. And she's like, would you love me if, she took her, her fake eyelashes off, the
Uh-huh.
hair extensions, wiped the makeup off. She's like, this is me. And had a cane in her 70s. And he just kisses her and he's like, I'll take it.
Wow.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
The real,
Real. Yeah. That's such a big statement what you said. And
and the authenticity to know what he wanted.
that's what it is. It's
The
yeah. And I had my 10 years, I call it single successful city. So 10 years, single successful city. So I didn't go full Charlie Sheen.
I'm Charlie Sheen.
I did not go full Charlie Sheen.
It's so funny that Martin Sheen is in the show.
Oh, that's right. He played.
How did you create Charlie
gay?
Sheen?
He's gay, isn't he?
He's
In the
yeah.
show? Or maybe
Yeah,
it's the other way. Anyways, we want to get too off because some people haven't seen.
Well,
these.
like gay Catholic, and his husband is gay Jewish.
Perfect. Yeah, that's perfect for that. So the funny thing about it is, my wife is a badass, and she's beautiful, and she was the woman, and her friend Sophie, when they were younger, when I was same era, single successful city, we're going to the clubs, and all the guys are running after them. And so yeah, I've always been attracted to and have been able to get when I was older. Now, when I was younger, they ran away from me when I was like at high school and middle school. But beautiful women, and I like beautiful women. I love beautiful women, but all women are beautiful in France. What does that mean? So when I lived in France, I saw these women, and they're just decided. They're like, I'm hot. You want it?
Yeah.
And that was it. It was decided.
It was decided.
They decided. They weren't measuring up against a standard.
No, they weren't.
They weren't. They're not like that.
Mm-mm.
I didn't see that ever. Different culture. So I'm like, the American culture, Norte Americano, American, meaning United States of America, not Canada, not Mexico, not Central, and not South. United States of America. I grew up where there was a standard. You had to look a certain way,
Right.
be a certain way, act a certain, and
And
everyone's trying
the
to live up to
relationship had to be a certain way too.
Yeah. And what is all of that?
Bullshit.
An illusion.
Oh yeah. It's a made up story. It's a tree fort.
Tree fort.
So you're in this tree fort.
Explain tree fort. I like that.
I've been applying that to the Catholic Church recently. Like, if you want to be part of this church, here are the rules. First rule, like, no girls allowed.
It's a tree. Oh, it's a tree fort. Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
No girls allowed. Rule 1.
But this is your whole thing with the marketing thing with Lewis Howes. It's like they have a tree fort for elites.
It's a tree fort for elites. That's exactly what. That's why I refuse to do that. So, so that's the whole idea. Identify your ideal target client. Who is that going to be? It's the people with the most money. Always. Now you've got an echo chamber elite bubble, and other people feel like they want to get into it. How are you doing anything useful in the world by doing that?
It was so awesome yesterday. So we had a conversation with a mutual friend yesterday, and you sent me a message with, he decided to become an ambassador. I hope that's okay. Fuck yes, it's okay. Right? So the challenge with here is like he doesn't have the capital on hand to invest in our campus and really our 8-week product, and that's totally fine. Because I saw the horsepower of what he brings to the table.
Yeah.
Enhanced by what you and I are already doing.
Yeah.
So having a shared desire in that, not only are we going to solve his money challenge, his temporary money challenge, we're going to get the right people into the space.
The right people. And this was the conversation and Judy was running yesterday when we were talking about the idea of social proof and authority persuasion marketing of, we don't have to do that, do we?
Larry, for the first time, we have live comments.
We have live comments.
Yeah, Marion, thank you so much. Agreed. Yep. Marketing and bad product is a pet peeve of mine. I'm going to go a step further, and not just a pet peeve, but it's like it's divisive. It's an
Divisive.
illusion.
Hmm.
It's not the real. And then Louisa, billionaire whisper, one session with her, like life changing, and it's just so lovely the way that she shows up for the masculine.
I don't think that people understand that have not been in elite. I've been in a lot of elite places. I've gone to $1,000 dinner. I've gone to $1,000 dinner restaurants. I've been in Capri. I've been in Ibiza, at Coup, the big nightclub. I've been in these places, and I call it Richistan. So
Rich,
Richistan is a special world. Yeah, there's a guy named Dan Rich who wrote a book called Richistan. It's great. It's a fabulous book from years ago. So people don't get to talk to people like Louisa when Louisa gets famous.
that's true.
That's the problem. So Tony Robbins has got the energy company. They've all got a whole army or retainer of people showing up, helping them be that thing in the public forum. And that is big money to do that. We are offering that to people, for anybody in the world to have access to. You don't get it for free. You got to contribute something if you have no
Right.
money. Otherwise, you won't take it seriously.
Or time or connections. I set up a barter with a man yesterday who wants to get more in touch with his intuition and also wants to naturally increase his testosterone. Like, I know how to do those things. And he's got a community of CEO burning men and women.
There you go.
Right. So give him the thing that he needs. And then the thing that I need is introductions to the people that appreciate this level.
Yeah.
I want to, as you're talking, Larry, I was thinking about Muhammad Ali. He played a fun game.
Oh,
He would
it's amazing.
He would just hop on the city bus and just go look at the city for hours. And his handler's like, why do you fucking do that?
Yeah.
He's like, because I think it's important for people to touch when they follow their dreams. Here's what happens.
Yeah.
He was
Wow.
never beyond that.
This is the problem with popularities. So people want to be famous, but nobody famous wants fame, because then you can't do that. Now you're trapped in Richistan.
Right.
And now, because someone's going to try to kill you.
You live in an art museum.
You live in an art museum, like the billionaire in Landman. And I mean, John Hamm's character, I feel bad for the guy.
He's trapped.
He's trapped. And my wife does not feel bad for him. So I'm like, no, you don't understand. This is an entrepreneur. He's stuck in a mentality. He can't get out of it. He thinks he has to get more, and he's afraid his business is going to get crushed because it's so competitive now. And he can't figure out how to make it work, but he lives in a damn art museum and he's trapped in it.
There's an interesting ripple that I see, that the wealthy, not prosperous, the wealthy are experiencing a certain type of poverty.
Yes.
Fear of losing the wealth that they've built. And so they don't play to win, they play not to lose. Completely
It's
different.
worse though, Brian. It's even worse because they're afraid for their families.
That's right.
Like more enlightened ones. Like if you look, there was a movie with Chris Rock and I think it was Adam Sandler years ago, where they're like, our kids are idiots.
Mm-hmm.
What are we going to do?
Right.
Because they didn't have to go through anything.
Kids are idiots and they're selfish and entitled.
Yes.
So if I don't get my M5 going to University of Richmond and I have to drive, a V6 leather Honda Accord, disappointed.
I know. This is a big problem.
Yeah.
It's a big problem. All right, we got 1 minute. So rather than trade off success for creative originality, my aim was to get both. So I want success and to be myself, creative originality. Whatever that is for you, you decide. Successful performance results in business, but not compromising nor marketing to become popular. If I market myself or do things I don't want to do anymore that I know how to do, I will be trading off and compromising on my life, and I will hate the result, no matter how good the KPIs and metrics are.
Stephen Pressfield talks about this in The War of Art. Eventually, following that path, I will resent my audience because they are dumb.
That's exactly what happened to, should I say it?
Yeah.
Alex Hormozy.
Yep.